Today we are in the day two of the Global Conclave. I take this opportunity to welcome all the panel members, my co-organizer Professor Lakshmi Mohan, and members from all over the globe who are participating for this event. It has also been broadcasted in YouTube. I take this cherished moment to introduce Dr. M. Shadiq Siddiq. He is a journalist and strategist, global change maker on eradicating information poverty, not only from India but from many African countries using social media tools. He is a social entrepreneur, columnist, media evangelist, mentor who contributes in policy making for several government and non-government international organizations working in the areas of livelihood, access, and digital inclusion. With over 17 years of experience, Dr. Siddiq has worked in the area of filmmaking, journalism, new media, and social development before he launched an association of social media professionals to strengthen democracy, good governance, and inclusive development. Association of Social Media Professional ASMP is about connecting and collaborating. The forum caters to the growing demand for shared knowledge and best practices around the globe. However, as a development analyst by profession and as a passionate change maker, he has been the force behind the expansion of Community Information Resource Center (CARC), a flagship and biggest project of Digital Empowerment Foundation spread in 24 states across India. He is also an Internet Society certified expert on internet governance and policy of the Asia Pacific region and scholar trained at International Academy for Leadership, Germany. He closely follows Indian interaction with all Asian and African countries with great interest and is keen observer of foreign policy in East and Southeast Asia, Africa, US, China bilateral relationship and cross-strait relations with journalist approach. And we are honored. We have been identified a wonderful right person, Dr. M. Shadiq Siddiq, on today's event of our Global Conclave on Digital 2.0. And Sir is going to deliver his talk on wonderful topic on pitfalls in Digital India 2.0, a challenge to the digital transformation. On behalf of Vinayaka Mission Research Foundation, deemed to be university, Arbole Institute of Technology, Center for Industrial Relationship and Industry Academy Cell, we welcome you wholeheartedly for this Global Conclave on Digital India 2.0. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babu. It's a quite comprehensive, profile study that you have shared. And let's begin with some of the examples and some of the basic things why it is happening. As we know, the information and the communication provide new opportunities and the new challenges in the development of the economies. ICT adoption and digitization and automation provide formidable new opportunities in terms of increased efficiency and productivity, the creation of new services and occupations, and increased connectivity among the agents. In the past decade or so, the Indian business landscape has seen massive technological shift towards the developing and the building the digital infrastructure aligned toward overall agenda of Digital India. High level of mobile penetration, spread of internet connectivity, and the low internet traffic has fundamentally changed the way the business connect with the customers and conduct themselves. At the same time, businesses and other economic activities have been aggressively remodeling themselves to position themselves as a digital first companies, which requires a fundamental overhaul or existing processes and rethinking of the way the existing businesses are conducted. But yet, while we are traditional conglomerates and the banking giants have reoriented themselves towards the achieving their digital equivalent, we still have not seen the very comprehensive case studies that we can claim that we are really Digital India and we are the we have the role model to showcase at the large scale in terms of a digital transformation. But the question is arising here, why digital projects fails? The question is here because we are seeing several things. People are trying to have the transformation. They are trying their best, but we are somewhere we are not achieving at that scale that we want to. There are lots of startups. We see start and just vanish. So here we see that digital technology is in the process of transforming every branch of our economy. Companies, both large and small, feel the pressure of incorporate them in every activity along the value chain, from R&D and logistics to manufacturing, marketing, and sales, digital technology creates new possibilities, but its values and implementation is fraught with pitfalls. Perhaps the thorniest issue confronting companies is that digital technology that tends to empower the buyer by increasing his or her bargaining power. In the extreme, they may lead to disintermediation, that is to make company irrelevant by helping buyers and seller interact with one another directly. To make matters worse, digital technology lowers the barriers to entry, making it easier and less costly for the companies to enter new national markets and new market segments. Another potential pitfall of the digital technology is that it tends to spoil the certain types of customers, making them think that a company can always offer higher product quality and convenience at lower cost. And the rise of the Internet of Things poses it fresh challenges. Emerging multinational sometimes find it difficult or costly to cover all the necessary bases to be effective on worldwide basis. In the era of search engines and optimization, is the must to ensure that the company product appear within the top 5 or top 10 in any search. On the most of the significant challenge entails avoiding situation in which the buyer merely uses the company's digital assets to gather information and compare prices while making purchases somewhere else. Intermodality is another key issue as more buyers start their product search on one device. Electronic devices are more or less appropriate depending on the complexity, a side option, or different products and services. Emerging multinationals seeking to use the digital marketing to enter new national markets often confront a variety of cultural issues as well. Sometimes the language barrier comes, sometimes the social issues comes that also stops in the digital domain, but prefers to purchase their own language. For instance, red convey danger and audacity in Europe, but it symbolizes purity in India and luck in China. The quality of the digital infrastructure is another key problem. Uploading and downloading speed differ massively from country to country. Use of high resolution images or video may work well in some market but not in others. For some it will be too slow to navigate, for others not engaging or innovative. The most formidable challenge involves in the area of payments as well. Security is the major issue here. Regulatory concerns are perhaps the most important constraints when it comes to the using common payment platform across markets. What lessons we should learn from these kind of gaps and the challenges that we are facing? Lesson number one, that we should start with the problem we wish to solve, not the product we wish to build. So this may sound very counterintuitive, but if we already designing the presentation that detail our dream of digital product and its long list features, but the starting point of any great product is always a pain point that's solving. If we cannot describe the problem statement without involving our product, we have to go back to the drawing board. Lesson number two, don't confuse product feature with the consumer need. Always focus on the need first and let the product follow. Eventually, this will make it easier for our digital business to address elephant in the room at the product level. Instead of wasting resources in the building ancillary features that might be good to have for our customers, it would allow us to focus on the must-have. Lesson number three, figure out our business strategy first. With the digital businesses, like with any other businesses, the key is to get business strategy correct. It does not matter if we are tech company or tech enabled company, as long as we have happy customers, happy employees, satisfies investors, and successful business. Now we come to lesson number four. A competitor might be using the artificial intelligence and machine learning to get a point A to point B, but it might not always fit your strategy too. Incorporating unnecessary tech into the digital business not only increases your digital wastage but also blurs your vision, best tackling the problem that we had to set our solve. Lesson number five, embrace technology. We might have hired a great CTO to help our digital business, and you might be blessed with a capable tech team, but as an entrepreneur, we need to know how it all strings together. Lesson number six and the last, number speaks for themselves. non-tech entrepreneurs can often be overwhelmed by the vast sea of technology that keeps getting harder to understand as we go deeper. But it is important to remember, as an entrepreneur, we are simply navigating our ship across the vast sea. When our ship starts gain momentum, the winds will start to blow and the number of the digital business will easily eclipse the complication of the technology. So these are the 6 lessons that we have to understand. Without understanding these basic points, we cannot expect the digital transformation in the true sense. And these are all the pitfalls that what we have mentioned about. This is a challenge, and it can be only rectified once the policy and policy makers are analyzing before taking to the ground. Mr. Babu, this is all about from my side. I want to have few questions to elaborate and discuss on that.
Said about all the 6 issues, and the last point was lesson 6. Lesson 5 is about embrace technology.
Yeah.
It's a very crucial factor, as we know that once ever the changes comes, what are the changes comes, we should be able to adapt to the situation. Initially, there will be always a resistance to come over it, but the need of the hour to look it over, the cope up with the technology. Always, as you said, now in Indian, we having some few bandwidth issues now in the pandemic situation. Almost everybody is consuming more bandwidth, either work from home or from various activities. It's all crucial time. But in all those activities, we have seen the productivity point also. It is some increasing factors. There may be an ups and downs in all this process actually, and we were wonderfully discussed about the 6 parameters and all those things. I hope I request you to throw a few light about what will be the business model actually with respect to business model, how the future strategy will be working on it on the digital transformation. Yes, because the traditional way of getting is almost gone away. Now you can see window shopping is more familiar. Earlier days we go for all those things for visiting malls, and even now we are having it. But now the situation is focusing on towards more focus on e-signals and e-commerce. Now markets are getting more like in mobile manufacturing or tablet manufacturing, or with respect to the gadgets, which is going to be the next future thing. And I hope that the futuristic, the broadband connectivity and the areas associated with the broadband connectivity, and with respect to special devices like internet connected devices like smart TVs and online classes, these are all going to be a huge changing factor. So I request you to share your thought process on these formats, which is need of the hour.
Yeah, so as you spoke about the online adoption in this lockdown period, it is very common now. People have been pushed towards the digital embracement, but automatically. It's not like, it's not by choice. It's now it has become compulsion. If you are living in a village, in a house, in a lockdown, then if you want to attend a school, you have to be online to attend the classes. Nowadays, it has been common. But again, there is a problem. It is going to be. It's going to be like a digital divide is going to be a crucial issue here, because those who are having the facility of the technology, they will be having their classes. Those who are not having that, so they will be left out. So there is another challenge that we have to see, that for the complete truly in the sector of education, that if you consider online and technology, then we have to see that whether other people, those who are living below the poverty level, are they able to afford this kind of expensive data cost and the other infrastructure cost, will be able to compensate. Another thing that you told about the customers, like about e-commerce and other things. Yes, that is there, but e-commerce maybe that will be replaced by this that social media marketing or the WhatsApp and other things, because now e-commerce is like going to be like outdated thing. Now it is coming by a very popular about how to reach, campaign your own product and get the order on the WhatsApp at the very rural areas. Now we are seeing in the lockdown period. So when all the e-commerce portal were not working, so people started using the WhatsApp. So that was the sharing the information, whatever the product you have among your group, and are creating the demand. So that is also very innovative idea, to have the very localized type of market, online market, and very instant, and use the other digital mode of payment like Paytm or money transfer, bank transfer, something like that. So these are the things that this lockdown has given like lots of new opportunity and new learnings also. But we have to see that, in this kind of learning, this kind of wave, other those marginalized section cannot be left out. We have to think about them, because their numbers are more than the people those who are affluent. Their percentage are more, because most of the people living in the village areas, like 60 to 70%, they are not that much, they are using the technology, but they are, if you say them that, you have to be dependent on the data and the internet for your education, for everything, then the data cost has to be at free of cost from the government side. It has to be something like free Wi-Fi zone in that community level, that, people can access at free of cost data and internet, so they can also get the facility of this kind of services like education, health, or any kind of information services. Otherwise, this will be another track for those poor people. So they will be again under debt, and they will be again left behind for all the accessibilities and all the entitlements that what you are providing through online services. So here, by keeping all this in mind, there are another sector also that, this in the lockdown it has suffered, that micro small industries and very, low level, that they were struggling. So that is also very, very, very crucial, that we are feeding lots of people, like employment generation and other things. So that is also suffering in that context. So we cannot tell that, due to digital or due to lack of bandwidth or lack of infrastructure they are struggling, but lack of supply chain, it has been disturbed, because many things in the lockdown, that once you are producing, there should be the supply chain should be very active. When they produce, that should be supplied to the end line customers and all. So another factor also, it may be the non-digital, but at least there are something to link to the this kind of scenario and the ecosystem. So when we talk about, as a holistic like Digital India, so there are many factors that involves. It cannot be like just only technology and only, one side, that if you are having a smartphone, then you can be like, connected to everything and every service, because beyond a smartphone there are operational costs also. So these are all the things that we have to keep in mind.
Okay, sir. Nice, sir. And few more analysis which I have been looking over about the topic which you are given. So, with respect to whenever there is a transformation, whenever there is an movement from like generation to generation push, like we're talking about Industrial 4.0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Now we are talking about digital divide. It's about 2.0. So, it's a crucial need of the hour. With respect to overall perspective, it's a holistic view. Not only talking about technology, not only talking about adaptability, and we are having some few direct or indirect factors which plays a major role about society development. So I has a few points which I want to share with you and get your opinion or a discussion point of view thing. The first one, this is about handling employees pushback during digital transformation, and second is about developing a company with a wide digital transformation, and third, finding the expertise to lead digitalization initiatives, and organization structure, who to dictate your digital future, this hierarchical base, and the crucial thing at last, managing the budget for the digital transformation. So I request you to throw light on these topics. Right? I think I can able to list one by one. I think so. First, with respect to handling employee pushback, as we have an employee structure, how are you going to look it over? As we are going to have an awareness sessions or need of the hour discussions. But next step is going to be the focus on it, and at last it is going to be the amount of budget is to be involvement, all those things. It is the need of the hour, but what will be the impact about all those things focusing in such a situation in economic conditions, the prevailing global economic conditions?
So here I can add here that how these are the things happening. It's happening because of we didn't really prepare about the gaps. India is a vast country with lots of resource. There are many local resource which has not been still tapped. If we understand, and there is no, if you understand the village level economy, then also you can find that people can survive without going to the city. They can create their own ecosystem. I can give you an example. One farmer that in Chhattisgarh that I know him personally, he was an engineer. He went to the village and he wanted to work for the village and all. So what he did, he started doing the survey in that area. First, he did the survey that how many people are doing agricultural work and how much land they have. Once he surveyed, after that he started surveying that how much consumption is there about the grains, about the other products that daily use products like grains or whatever the crops or the vegetables, how much they consume in a month. So he made the list. So what he did, and after that he sat with all the landholders and asked that and distributed the task that you will grow this, you will grow this, you will grow this, and after growing this, that demand that he started selling the same thing in the village itself. So what happened that he started filling the gaps, that not the duplication or the replication kind of thing that started, and he first started this one, and he found that everybody, those who were growing, that all the products were bought by the same villagers, not from outside, and it was purely organic and all. So it was consumed by the village itself, so they didn't have to go and sell it outside. It was not about to make the price down or something like to throw like that, like usually the farmers do, because of the lots of products, lot of produce, sometimes happens the rates goes low. So that also they didn't suffer. So what happened? So this chain started making that they started consuming the products in the same village. So what happened? The village became self-sustainable.
Wonderful.
And what now in the second phase, what they thought, now this much product we are growing, it is being consumed by the same village, and we are buying and from each other. And the next level, they started producing something extra to sell it to the next village as for the cash. So it started slowly. I don't know what happened. They had covered whole panchayat like this, and now they are packaging in like other agri-business type of product, and they are packaging well, and now they are transporting that one to the different cities also, different state also. They have become online, and they are selling it online also, and very pure product. So like this, if you see that it doesn't need to be in the city, it doesn't have to be to migrate in the city for making your living standard higher. You have to think that what is available there and how it can be used. India is full of resource, it has lots of capacity, but you are thinking about others, you are not analyzing your own strength or your own resources, rather than just thinking that if I'm a villager, if I do this course, I can be like IT engineer, or I can be engineer in America, but you're not thinking that I can be engineer in the same area to make other people sustainable. I can be more happier than being there, and I can earn more than that if I can be more innovative. So these are the things that we have to think, and this lockdown has given lots of opportunity. And what our Prime Minister has told that this is a time to be Atmanirbhar or self-reliant something. So it's if you go deeper, this is possible, and we have seen it. We have seen it. It's not there's nothing wrong in that. When you go deeper and you see that we have lots of resources, just we have to cultivate ourselves. Why you have to migrate? If people are migrating for either for the higher education, better education, or something, or higher living standard, or earning more money. So, but the same thing, if you find it out, and that money is used for what? For your daily expenses, for your daily action, that what you are using every day. So that can be done by you. You can also manufacture something that which is needed for others. You can be self-entrepreneur, social entrepreneur. Why to be always like job seeker? We have to be like creator, and whatever you have, whatever the resource you have, you can innovate, you can guide, but you have to first understand that what is your strength and what resources you have. It doesn't matter that it's a big resource or a small resource. It has to be a start with a smaller. So these are the things that it's all mindset. Okay, and I don't think that it's impossible. Just you are struggling with your own demand and the market driven demand and this kind of illusion. If you come out of that, definitely it's very sustainable situation, and you can even in 3 months you have seen everybody adjusted in their own way. Even shops were closed, all the things were closed, but we survived, and we are going to survive. But these are the things that we have to understand. But for the GDP and the economy for the country, other companies and other resources has to be channelized in a way that it should be automated. Supply and chain should be connected. That all the things should be, if you are producing that should be delivered to some places which is required and all. So these are the things that has to be in place. But other side, I see that there is nothing wrong with that, being at your own place and cultivating your own opportunity. So this is a good chance that I feel.
Okay, sir. Thank you. As a wonderfully you said about sustainability, as you said, need of the cover, whatever it grows at the point, it has been supplied to other near locality. It's a good point, which has been focused, as you said, not to CBN job seekers, job providers. As to not only an out of box, it's only a small innovation which changes the whole society. And also you covered about the simple point, not only for sake of generation of money or for earning only for family, you should be socially focusable. Socially, you should be able to render your service either directly by your service or making an organization or whatever thing. It reaches to the benefit to the all. It's a wonderful, sir. And there are a few questions that have been put in the chat box, sir. I hope I can be posting it for you. Think so. Mr. Muthukumar Mehta has requested posted that which sectors are yet to have that transition to digitalization, and what are the challenges for adoption of digital embracements? This is the point has been posted, sir.
Yes, so he's asking about the right sector, right, for the digitization.
Yes.
So I still believe that agriculture is the sector which is going to transform in a bigger way.
Okay.
And that needs lots of innovation, that needs lots of young energy, that that our mindset or our type of people can only think. We cannot ignore that. That is the backbone of India, and people that they took that agriculture as a second grade. That is why they are suffering. Otherwise, there is a huge opportunity. Because if you see, just a simple way you see, why we are talking about organic when there was no chemical fertilizers, everything was organic.
Yes.
We are using, now we spoiled it, again repackaging it and selling it at a double price. So what kind of thing that we are doing? And this kind of innovation that you are going back to basic, you are trying to go back to basic. But can we be without involving too much marketing, can we be little bit genuine with the basic technology, basic innovation? We don't want a big dripping system in our agricultural field. We can manage our own Johar system and we can get the same product out of it. We don't want that very high profile greenhouses and all that which needs lots of huge money. We can use the bamboo stick and make the greenhouses, not without the steel pipes and all. So the purpose has to be very, very focused. We have to be very innovative, and Indian people are very, very, very smart. If you go into the villages, I have traveled whole India, not only India, even the African countries. I have seen people, those who are living in the villages, they are more, they have more wisdom than the people living in the urban areas. We are very, very dependent on the just technology, that to make it automated and give the result. And if you but when you go to villages, they know all the processes and steps. They can, if you ask them, they can see the sky and tell the weather condition for next 2-3 days. But here we have to see the Google and see on a mobile that when it is going to rain.
Predictions.
So these are the difference. They are more smart, but we have to mix and match, because now because due to fast moving, the technology is fast moving and all, so it has to be integrated with that wisdom to get the perfect result and more accurate in the fast pace. So once we channelize all these things, I think that farmers will not be the losers. They will be like, at the front line. And agriculture has lots of scope to do this work. Yeah, one example you see that, you see agriculture, you tell that you feel that there is no technology involvement in that. I can tell you that each and every angle of agriculture is based on technology. If you want to be engineer, why don't you go to become a solar engineer and be in the village and help other people, those who are using the solar pump and solar plates? There also engineers are required. So why I can't be the, so you can be the, those who can supply the electricity by the solar grid. You can create a solar grid and supply self-sustainable power supply into the village. You can be the electrical engineer and being into the village itself. So there are lots of things, that you want to be what you will be, but see the purpose. Are you going to use your study or take this innovation just for yourself or the community or the society or nation building? So these things that you have to be like, in mind when you do something, you have to be in a, like in a giving mode. You cannot have the just for me. Once you think about that it will be very narrow thinking and results will be also narrow. So that is what you see. I see the differences in the village and the metropolitan cities. People are confined to their own just a small flat. But when you go to the village, they cannot live like that. They know each other. They know each and every problems of the villages. They are connected to each and every occasion. So these are the things that we have to learn from the basics. And India is a great place to learn where either you go in north or you go in south. You see the different learning experiences where you interact despite of the language variance. I don't think that the tradition and the culture so rich that you cannot find in any different part of the world, and that has to be preserved with the new and integrated with the new technology to showcase to the world. And then again I repeat that agriculture is the sector that we have to focus.
Yes, sir. As we belongs to an agriculture country, you had an eye-opened opportunity to think over what should be our future focus, not only on products related to agriculture. And I want to add a point to you, sir. As we are very close to technology and we are very far from the nature, and the people's what we say about the rural areas, they are not up to the technologies, but they are very close to nature and they can able to adapt well to the nature, but we have been afraid. And I want to add one point that, as you said, learn, relearn, unlearn, relearn, and all those things. Learn, relearn, unlearn. So it is going to the basics, going to the ancient myths and all those things, philosophies, just to think it over. There is a valid reason to look it over it. As we catch the exact point, we can able to match to it and we can able to face the situation and come up in a successful way. Wonderful, sir, wonderful. And there was a similar question across the same thing, sir. Sir, could you explain about the areas associated with Digital India with respect to common people who are under poverty line? How can they could be enabled with it? I think this is about generally they mention about poverty line.
See, I can tell you, everybody is now connected with the mobile phone. Either they are having the feature phone or that smartphone. I can give you an example. When the lockdown happened, and I personally started one campaign to connect each and every migrants, those who can reach me through WhatsApp, and whatever the information we can gather, we will connect to those that agency, those who are on the ground, either government agencies or NGO or the local people, those who are helping in the different part of the world. So what happened that there were a mix of people, those who were either having a smartphone or feature phone. They started collecting, message and some they got information that this is that. So they started making, and I created one form. So for that they fulfill it. You will not believe, many people, those who were illiterate, they started connecting through that link and form and taking help from those who were little bit educated to fill that form, so we can know that where they are stuck and where they need help. So this by this we realize that 84% of the migrants laborers were having the smartphone and using WhatsApp. And once they are educated about how to use very positively and how to access the facility or the benefits and how to make their voice heard through some technology, then half the burden or the challenges they will overcome. Because the only the challenge is that the information that what we are trying to share to them is not reaching to them, and they are not able to tell what they want from the government or any agency, so that is not coming to the right agency. So that linkage if we connect, and that linkage we strengthen at the very panchayat level and that very local level, like you see, you saw an example that all the state had the helplines. Why all the helplines were not giving the solution or not able to do it? Because helpline number was there, but the support system was not sufficient. So we have to understand that it's not about creating the system, but running the system. What are the things required? You have to manage, and that has to be like at the end-to-end solution. And once that is done, I think that those common people, those below poverty, they can also survive. Just they have to have the right information, right support. Government has lots of scheme, lots of things that for the people those who are below the poverty line, but they are not getting the benefit out of it because either due to some missing information they are left behind. Either they are not able to connect to the technology and the technology is not working in that area. Sometimes that is also the challenge for them. Sometimes long back there was like Aadhaar integrated. They didn't have the biometric. Their hand, the thumb impression was not clear. So sometimes that due to technology that also they were left behind. They were not given the ration and all. So these are the things that we have to correct those gaps, and that gaps is under control of the government. It's not about the BPL or the common people. Common people can try to access that information if our mechanism, our system is in place. So once we correct them, that half of the burden, it will be automatically solved because everything is there, solution is there. But those who are creating demand, those who want the help, their information is not reaching to the right place. And if it is reaching to the right place, the manpower is not that much sufficient to handle that kind of load. So number suddenly that migrants, laborers, you saw that huge number, yeah. And system was not at that part. So that has to be preparedness, that has to be there, and we have to have very sensible people, those who can visualize the situation, that how this is going to turn up. It's not about the day to day. It has to be like in advance, like 5 months, 6 months in advance, that if it is happening, what is the plan B? Are we having the crisis management type of plan that in case it is going to be worse? So these kind of things, it happens, and a country like India, it's not easy to handle because it's a huge country and lots of population, and so but we have to understand larger population, because larger populations are mostly at the very common people and very below the poverty line. So they have to be like we have to think that how to streamline. Once they are streamlined, everything will be streamlined because they are the backbone of the economy. They are working as a laborer. They are working like support system put to any company. They are working like maid or anything in houses and all, and we are dependent on them. So these are the things we cannot ignore them. This that system has to be in place for them. Once they are happy, they are stable, then only we are stable. Even the government is stable. See the crisis, what has happened, that the people have moved out. Now there are labor crisis and other people. How? So we have to think that why it is happening. It has to be controlled. It has to be like taken care by some agency and right agency. It has to be preparedness for that, and that is more important than any planning for the urbanization or development.
Okay, so thank you. We touched about the crucial topic of migration members, what we face, and we don't know how it is going to be happen after 2 months when all have been getting back to the home place. The existing works and continuation, how the process of business to be developed, it's a big question mark and big challenge. it's a very tough situation to be looked over it. And there is one more question, sir, and it's about how can we distinctly emerge out of the pitfalls, and how can we strategize to cohesively remain upskill and resilient to be adapt to the changing times.
See, that's why I shared 6 lessons that at last.
Yes.
Those were the 6 lessons that we have to keep in mind. And if you want that, I can copy those 6 lessons in the chat box.
That's right, sir. Many asked about it. But
Yeah, so that will help you to keep like a handbook. So let me just copy immediately lessons to learn. So I have.
wonderful, sir, wonderful. There was one of the member has put it. Kindly list the lesson 6 in the chat box, sir. We can be able to look it over.
Yeah. No, all the lessons that
Dear participants, any questions or anything to be discussed with sir, you can post it in the chat box. Sir is posting his 6 lessons what we discussed in the chat for our reference.
Me too. I love everything. I know she'll have such relevance to the whole thing. Captain Powerful catch. This year's Portland Based Festival, designed by Rarity, will feature various high-class events such as cider auction and tasting. A pony gala in town cider. And, of course, fashion.
these are the 6 lessons.
Thanks, sir. Fine.
No, so maybe it will be helpful for everybody, that those who want struggling with these kind of challenges.
Sir, I hope you had crumped and put us a nutshell for a week-long discussion in 6 points, sir. If you take one, I think so it goes for a books or something, panel discussion. It's in a very nutshell you has given it for all the 6 crucial points of this situation.
Welcome.
Dear participants, you can post your questions. The chat box, we will be placing it to sir. And we are posting this in YouTube also, sir. There are a few comments also there for a few questions. I will take it, sir.
Okay, sure.
And one has mentioned about all are talking about smart cities, but we also must think about act on smart villages and smart town first.
Yeah.
As you said about the sustainability, it covers the crucial point that
Yeah.
one of the participants said. Not only smart cities, starting from the village ground reality, we should reach the city level.
Right.
Point taken, sir. It's very good. Sir has been covered on these things. And many appreciations. It is a different session, sir. Wonderful discussions. We are very happy to see in different dimensions. We are getting some more positive comments. It is not a traditional session like having a PowerPoint presentation and to look it over. It's a one-to-one discussion about the crucial topic, need of the hour of Digital India 2.0.
Yeah, so we want to take the real experiences and challenges to solve the issue,
Yes.
not about the theoretical. And there is no solution, once you just talk about theory, we don't share the examples.
Wonderful. Like hands-on session, that is the main thing which you want to look it over thing. Sir, I want to add one more question. So, what will be the need of the hour to to upskill others or reskill others? What is the need to be learned immediately? What is the greatest challenge to all of us?
So see, the first thing that how to use the technology very positively. That is the one.
Yeah.
Don't waste time in just what we were doing in the normal days.
Exactly.
There are many programs online at free of cost. So we have to choose it to strengthen our skill and enhance. That how we can use it. And learn the basics. And we have to get to all those things. And once we just close the gaps and just work on the gaps, definitely our performance will be better than ever. And but start working on becoming entrepreneur, not just finding the jobs, because it's not going to solve permanently. Once you are innovative, once you are learned, job will come to you is like on its own. You don't have to run for the jobs. So this is the basic, but just work on this type of lockdown period. But work on the gaps. That what is the weakness, that and through online we can learn. There are lots of online courses available there, and good universities they are offering at free of cost. So we have to use those kind of time for good purpose.
And you rightly said about this. You see the getting to the positive direction. Always we have the difficulties, but we should see the opportunities available in the difficulties to overcome it. You rightly covered over it, and I want to add a point that we all have problems, but the way we solve them, it's what makes us different. It's what makes us to be alone from the crowd, and it's going to be a big solution to all of us. I think so. So nice words from you, sir. I hope there is no more questions. Kartin, is there is any questions? Anything apart from this we are left out?
No, sir. I don't see any questions.
Okay, sir. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. And with respect to one more thing, sir. With respect to employability factor, what will be the future employability aspects as we are in a different dimension now in thing? Which sectors will see that will have a huge openings, like great opportunities?
So I think that you cannot predict in this kind of situation what is going to happen next year. This is very volatile situation. What is going to happen, because the scene every day it is changing. You don't know, because you have to find your own way.
Okay.
And you cannot, but it's for sure that everybody will be on digital platform. So by choice or by compulsion, everybody will push to that online. So that is for sure. Otherwise, the rest of the things are very uncertain. And about the job opportunity, I don't think that only we have to focus how to create our own sustainability and sustainable ecosystem around ourselves.
Okay.
Whatever we have resource, can we have that, make it more extended, make it more, robust to cater, in a very difficult situation with a very less, with less budget and maximum output. So these kind of thing that we have to think at least for next 1 year. And after that only, if it is normalized, then automatically everything will be smooth.
Okay.
But for next 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, it's very uncertain that where we will go, how. But the good part is that lots of job opportunity will come, but skill mapping will be very difficult.
Okay.
That you will not find the right match for the right opening, because it has been like up and down and something, and suddenly it will crop up, or suddenly it will vanish. So this kind of situation will emerge, and it will be difficult for both, for job seekers as well as job providers. So both sides it will be challenged.
I think lesson 5 will answer this. Embrace technology. It's the only way.
Yeah. So if you are online, so you have to get information quickly, and how to seek information, how to connect with them. Once you are online and digitally enabled, then only you can just pick it up.
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. So there is a question, and a member has raised the question. I will allow him to talk. Mr. Vijay Kumar Panniselvam.
Okay.
Karthi, you can unmute him. Ask to unmute. Mr. Vijay Kumar, he has raised his hand. Vijay Kumar Panniselvam.
Just a minute, sir.
He has raised his hand.
Unmute Vijay Kumar sir, please unmute yourself and ask the question, sir.
Mr. Vijay Kumar Panisalam, kindly unmute yourself.
Sir, you can unmute yourself, sir. Vijay Kumar, sir. Think he is facing some problem.
Okay, sir. Wonderful session, sir. It was a learning lesson for us also. As we talk about all the positive points, we should know about where is the bridge gap. What is the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, and opportunities threat. It's the first step which we go for next level. And I hope this session, the day 2 of Global Conclave on Digital India 2.0, Government Embrace with Emerging Technologies, you have directed us in a exact direction where not only see opportunities, also put a focus about the shortfalls, pitfalls. Unless and until we don't know about the ground reality, we cannot build as a taller buildings. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to have an eminent person like a media person, or you have been connected across the globe, not only India, as we have seen your profile and all those things, which will be actively connected in various forums and all. Madam has said about more about you, as you are the right person to talk about this wonderful topic, and we have been fortunate, we have been humble. If opportunity happens, we request you to visit our campus very shortly. We will also invite you in person, and we thought of thinking also of collaborating yourself with respect to, as our university is in medical technological university, we are from engineering, medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, physiotherapy across Salem, Pondicherry, Karaikal, and Chennai, and we like to have a collaboration with you. We'll get back to you very soon, sir. Thanks for a wonderful session, sir. Out of your busy schedule, was accepted immediately. Thanks to Indrani madam for making us to connect to a wonderful session. Thank you, sir. Lakshmi Mohan sir, for your words, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It is raining here. I am in my native place. I couldn't catch up. That's why I couldn't speak. I couldn't get to so many details. It was a wonderful session, sir. This is a different session for us.
Yes.
Because we have been attending so many technical session and related with academic and industrial.
Yes.
This is very much useful and a different session for us. It is it is eye-open session for us, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much to you and Indrani ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you. See you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you, Karthi. Thank you, Karthi. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, participants from various countries and national wide. Thank you very much.
Karthikeyan, you can post the posters for tomorrow's session. We can inform to the participants to stay back regarding tomorrow's session. I think you can share the poster.
Just a minute, sir.
Our session day 3. Again, thank all of you for staying back and patiently listening to us. 9 more days are to that. Few more wonderful guests are there. Dr. Adiman sir. We have wonderful sessions to be ahead, to be presented in the 9 days of event. It is going to be very challenging in a different directions of innovation of digital age, in Digital India 2.0. So I hope today's session is another dimension which we are looking over it. Thanks for the participation. Kindly submit your feedback for receiving your e-certification. Thank you, one and all.
This is a great chance to interact with eminent personality from various area. We struggled to get the people from very good personalities from industries as well as government sectors. This is the participants will be using this opportunity for your growth. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kalaimani madam, for your positive response. I expect you to share this information to all your co-members. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you all. Be safe in home. Stay safe in home. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Babu sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Karthi. Thank you, sir.